government of Venezuela updated on the ongoing investigations to dismantle terrorist groups who sought to undermine Sunday's legislative and regional elections. A federal judge in the United States blocked on Friday a recently announced government ban on Harvard University's international students program. In Yemen, thousands take to the streets in Sana'a to express solidarity with the Palestinians in the Gaza Strip. Hello and welcome to From the South. I'm Alejandra Garcia from teleSUR Studios in Havana, Cuba. We begin with the news. In Venezuela, the Minister of Interior, Justice and Peace, Diosdado Cabello, reported the arrest of Juan Pablo Guanipa for leading a network of terrorism and conspiracy aimed at subverting next Sunday's legislative and regional elections. During the operation, notebooks and electronic devices were seized, which provided valuable intel on those involved, the financing structure, and targets designated for terrorist attacks, such as embassies, hospitals, police commands, and public services. The terrorist plans also targeted politicians and leaders of both the Bolivarian Revolution and the opposition that will participate in Sunday's elections. In this context, over 400,000 security officials are deployed throughout the country to ensure Venezuelans' peace and tranquility.
Juan Pablo
Guanipa Villalobos arrested. He bragged, he mocked, he thought he was untouchable, invisible. But for the Venezuelan state security agencies, they have demonstrated to our people, with their efficiency, that there is no one invisible here. There is no one invisible. Also, we have collected on site, well, sorry, that was in the early morning. We continue working, but we found notebooks, agendas, and here they tell everything. Everything from groups to financing and places to commit terrorist acts, among them embassies. We have been deployed around embassies to prevent terrorist acts.
In this context, the Venezuelan minister informed that the ongoing operation to dismantle the terrorist group unveiled evidence of planned attacks targeting key institutions such as hospitals, subway stations, oil and electric service stations, and embassies.
Yesterday, or the day before yesterday, since Monday, I told you that we were in full development. And today, at this moment, right now, at this moment, the state security agencies are acting in the dismantling of this terrorist group. We managed to do so as a result of information coming especially from our people. So here comes into practice the popular military police fusion, in practice and in execution. Yesterday, we captured one of these groups in the state of Zulia with 5 grenades that were going to be thrown at the police stations in the state, at hospitals, public utilities, subways, electrical installations, oil installations, service stations, and personalities who support the revolution and those who support the opposition and are participating in the elections.
The International Forum Venezuela Votes with Dignity, a revolution that decides with the people, quick-started in Caracas on Friday ahead of the legislative elections to be held on May 25th. More than 53 countries and 300 delegates from different political parties participated in the forum, which was also attended by national government authorities. In this framework, participants highlighted the importance of the upcoming regional and legislative elections while denouncing the far-right attempts attempts to destabilize the country. Like this, representatives from international organizations emphasize that the right to vote is part of democracy and stress their shared responsibility to help Venezuelans protect their sovereignty in the face of the continued attacks from the United States. In Venezuela, more than 400 international observers are ready to observe the regional elections to be held next Sunday, May 25th. President Nicolás Maduro assured that Venezuela has all the guarantees for free and sovereign elections. In the process of the elections, the observers will visit the polling stations as part of a government strategy that evidences the transparency of the democratic process that Venezuelans are living. In view of the elections, the Vice President for International Affairs of the United Socialist Party of Venezuela, Rander Peña, informed that he held meetings with several delegations of international observers already in the country. The Mexican National Electoral Institute accredited 139,538 observers and 366 foreign visitors for the judicial election to be held on June 1st. The electoral body informed that it received from December 13, 2024 to May 21st of the present year a total of 316,498 applications for the role of observer, which underwent through checks of requirements before their final accreditation. In this regard, the presidency of the Temporary Commission of the Judicial Electoral Process affirmed that this election guarantees the participation of the citizens, which demonstrates the confidence and transparency of this election process. A federal judge in the United States blocked on Friday a recently announced government ban on Harvard University's International Students Program. The decision comes after, on Thursday, the Trump administration ordered to revoke the university's eligibility to enroll foreign students. According to the Department of Homeland Security, the move would force more than 6,000 currently enrolled students to transfer to other universities or lose their legal status. The university challenged the action in court, with U.S. District Judge Alison Burroughs issuing a 2-week temporary restraining order freezing the policy. Harvard has been battling the government over its diversity programs, handling of anti-Semitism, and refusal to hand over details of students taking part in pro-Palestine demonstrations. After the fifth round of nuclear negotiations in Rome, Italy, the delegations of Iran and the United States returned home with new ideas and proposals to evaluate. The Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi indicated that during the talks, the fixed position and principles of the Islamic Republic were presented. He also detailed that several ideas and proposals were discussed, which were to be thoroughly reviewed by experts from both sides and transferred to the capitals. Araghchi stated that the case for indirect negotiations is still open and the talks will continue. And now we have a short break coming up, but first remember you can join us on TikTok at teleSUR English, where you'll find news in different formats, news updates and more. We'll be right back, stay with us. Welcome back to From the South. Trade unions will march in Panama in defense of democracy and human rights to push the government into meeting their demands. This is part of the indefinite strike to reject Law 462 of the Social Security Fund. The rally will set off from Urraca Park and it will head for the presidential headquarters in Panama City. Protesters will be standing for their social rights, and furthermore, demonstrators have shown their solidarity for both Soundtrack's leaders who have been lately arrested and the Soundtrack's union chair, Saul Mendez, who is taking refuge in the Bolivian embassy. After pressure from teachers, construction workers, banana workers and native peoples who have joined in rejection of the law regulating Social Security. Legislators requested President Molina to open a dialogue on Law 462, but he refused. On a summit in the Ecuadorian Amazon indigenous leaders from Latin America rejected extractions from their territories. Some 20 indigenous delegates from Brazil, Colombia, Chile, Ecuador and Mexico, alongside the Sahamak clan from Suriname, have been attending the three-day meeting in Sarayaku village. On the encounter, they have addressed the violations of nations and companies to the international regulations regarding the protection and defense of Aboriginal rights. In this sense, they have highlighted that mining exploitation, indiscriminate hunting, and the expansion of agricultural frontiers are part of the common scourge damaging the biodiversity of indigenous lands in the region.
Estamos en resistencia. Estamos en lucha permanente.
We are resisting, we are permanently fighting, day after day. And all the peoples have united for this process of effective work against this system that wants to devour us.
In Argentina, workers are on a national strike to demand a pay rise and defend the pension system. The union of employees of the national justice system have been picketing over the fact that the rise granted by the Supreme Court of Justice was not the one requested. The trade union highlighted that the inflation crisis continued to be a threat, so that the salary increase does not cover the workers' needs. Employees further indicated that the labor action was because of the loss of salary did not stop, and that the implementation of the Federal Criminal Procedure Code was affecting the justice system. In Chile, the Midwives College called for a national demonstration this Friday, 23rd, to reject the new decree issued by the Health Ministry. The Midwives College said Decree 243 reduces the labor fields of professionals and threatens the sexual and reproductive health of women. The new decree modifies the criteria for categorizing units in hospital establishments. The association points out that maternity and gynecological emergencies will not be separated from ordinary care. The Guild also condemns the fact that this reform was not previously consulted and therefore calls for the withdrawal of this decree and the creation of a technical roundtable with transparency, seriousness and protecting women's rights.
We are summoned here on a meeting with the Deputy Secretary because a decree was signed in a sneaky way, violating all women's rights, the rights they have acquired up to now.
We are certainly concerned about the indifference of emergencies. We are aware that there are different profiles of users attending each of these spaces, and we know there is a distinctive professional training. We also understand midwives are the main guarantors of sexual and reproductive rights for the community.
In Spain, anti-fascist organizations, political parties and human rights groups criticize the tolerance towards a group that glorifies Francoism and promotes hatred after the government's permissiveness to a recent fascist demonstration in Madrid. The demonstration, authorized by the government delegation, gathered around 100 supporters in the Plaza de España, waving flags and shouting nationalist slogans. These demonstrations were called by the Spanish Falange from Plaza Callao to Plaza Tirso de Molina in Madrid. In this regard, anti-fascist organizations and neighborhood collectives took action to try to avoid critical situations or clashes. However, the event was heavily guarded and took place without major incidents. German police have arrested a woman after at least 12 people were injured in a knife attack at the main station in the northern city of Hamburg. Emergency services said that some of the injured sustained life-threatening injuries in the stabbing, although the exact number remain unclear. Around 6:30 p.m. local time, Hamburg police said on X they were carrying out a major operation at the main train station in Germany's second largest city. The police stated that the suspect had been arrested, a 39-year-old woman who was thought to have acted alone. The police later announced that there was no sign of a political motive in the attack. Germany has been rocked in recent months by a series of violent attacks with often far-right extremist motivations that have put security at the top of the agenda. And we have a second show break coming up, but before we invite you to visit our Facebook page at teleSUR English, there you'll be able to watch our top stories, special live coverage and much more. Follow our page and activate the notification button to stay up to date on the world's most recent events. Final show break. We'll be right back. The Palestinian Health Ministry reported that Israeli genocidal forces have killed over 16,500 minors since October 7, 2023 in the Gaza Strip. The entity indicated that among those annihilated were 916 babies younger than 1 year old and 4,000 children aging from 1 to 5 years old. The ministry further specified that the minors' death toll revealed the upsurge of the humanitarian catastrophe that the Palestinian people are living through. Israeli forces targeted children who must have been protected, cared for, and educated. In addition, the institution urged the international community and human rights organizations to hold their corresponding responsibilities for a ceasefire and to safeguard Palestinian children. Palestinian authorities condemned the recent attacks by Israeli settlers in the occupied West Bank city of Brooklyn. The Palestinian Foreign Ministry stressed that the settlers' crimes are organized and planned in an attempt to displace Palestinians, adding that the attacks are supported by the occupation army. Extremist Israeli settler militias attacked homes and vehicles and assaulted several Palestinian residents in the city of Brooklyn on Thursday. The attack occurred just hours after the Israeli army withdrew from the city following a week-long offensive. In Yemen, thousands of protesters rallied in Sana'a city in solidarity with the Palestinian people in the Gaza Strip. The Yemenis mobilize every Friday in rejection of the bombings, humanitarian crisis and forced displacements in the Gaza Strip since the escalation of the Israeli siege in the Palestinian territories. Other localities in the country also held demonstrations to reiterate their just and honorable position in defense of the Palestinian cause. In addition to condemning the 11-week blockade of humanitarian aid by Israel, in which Tel Aviv allowed the entry of 107 trucks with food and medical supplies through the Kerem Shalom border crossing. The Russian government reported that nearly 1,200 Ukrainian drones were shot down in the last days. The Russian Air Defense Forces intercepted more than 788 unmanned vehicles on the outskirts of the conflict zone. The Defense Ministry specified that since May 17th, the Russian Armed Forces carried out 12 precision strikes and drone strikes hitting several Ukrainian targets, including the infrastructure of military airfields. Russian anti-aircraft forces also shot down 30 guided aerial bombs, 12 multiple missile launchers, and about 1,548 UAVs. The Russian Defense Ministry informed that 270 military personnel and 120 civilians, including those captured in the Kursk region, will return to Russia as part of an exchange with Ukraine. The Russian entity noted that the Russian servicemen and civilians are currently on the territory of Belarus, where they are receiving the necessary psychological and medical assistance. In addition, all the prisoners will be transported to Russia to receive treatment and rehabilitation in medical institutions. Likewise, the Russian Ministry of Defense announced the release of 270 Ukrainian servicemen and 120 civilians within the framework of the agreements reached in Istanbul. Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orbán accused the Ukrainian government of espionage for conducting intelligence operations aimed at influencing his country's residents. The leader affirms that Ukraine maintains contacts with the opposition and endorses the mobilization that support European Union membership. The Hungarian Prime Minister ratified his position against joining the regional bloc because, in his opinion, it would mean taking part in a war. In recent days, Viktor Orbán denounced a smear campaign launched by Kyiv against Budapest, organized by the Ukrainian intelligence services. And like this, we have come to the end of this news brief, but you can find these and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net and join us on social media. We are on Facebook, X, Instagram, Telegram and TikTok as well. For Telesur English, I'm Alejandra Garcia. Thank you for watching.